Good morning, friends. Let me just fiddle with that a little bit. Good morning. Nice to see you. Sounds like there was some kind of connection problem this morning, maybe. Don't know quite why that would have been. But here you are, here we are, etc. When in the midst of the darkness and trouble and confusion of the world, which is always there, right? I mean, it's like, so the nature of the world. The nature of the world is, the way the Buddha described, what makes the world turn? The Buddha asks, greed, hatred, and delusion. Can sound like a pretty dreadful or tragic or depressing assessment of the human condition. But it's not actually just the human condition. But, look around, look at the world. What makes the world turn? Greed, hatred, and delusion. It's like if we're somehow hoping that one day we might wake up and all the world leaders have stopped politicking and everybody's decided to live in peace and harmony, well, that'll be a pretty long and frustrating wait. We kind of instinctively, we sort of sense that possibility. Why can't we live in harmony? And yet, it doesn't seem to be the nature of the world. Right? And yet, paradoxically, the most essential nature of our own hearts, when we get underneath our own greed, hatred, and delusion, we get underneath our tendency to, to fixate, to fuss and fight and freak out, to judge and complain and dismiss and reject, and all of that, which we can see playing out in our own hearts, just like we can see those same mind states playing out in the world. When we get underneath all of that, we find, the nature of that might be the nature of the world. That's the nature of busy human minds, reactive human minds, compelled human minds, and yet not even a hair's breadth away from that. Just underneath those very restless, conflicted tendencies, the actual nature of the heart is the exact opposites of those things. From that, undemanding, undefended, undistracted. The essential nature of our own consciousness is undemanding. It doesn't need anything to be here. The opposite of greed doesn't need anything to be here. Undefended. The opposite of hatred or aversion or rejection. It's like, there's nothing I need to keep out, nothing to defend against, nothing to protect, nothing to refuse. And undistracted, despite all these fizzing thoughts that keep, pulling at my attention. Most essentially, consciousness is always here, here, here. All our experiences arise here. So there's a kind of endless paradox between what we look around and see as the nature of the world and what we're able to recognize as the fundamental nature of the heart. And then navigating that paradox is called life. Most people's lives are just caught up in the first lot, pulled around by greed, hatred, and delusion, pulled around by the engines of the world, and then kind of suffering over that and having anxiety about that and despairing over that when we see it going on in the world around us, and while also being subject to those same forces within. And then we discover, there's a whole other side. In the midst of the demands and the defenses and the distractions. Consciousness that's undemanding, undefended, undistracted. Beautiful, vital, liberating discovery. And then, okay, how do I live in this world with this understanding? That's life. That's what a practice is as well. How do I live in a world of greed, hatred, and delusion? How do I live in a world of demands, defenses, and distractions in a way that's undemanding, undefended, undistracted? It's not easy, right? That's why it's a practice. That's why it's a practice. So that's why we're here. And one of the most fundamental ways of discovering an undemanding, undefended, undistracted dimension to consciousness and then bringing that to our lives is through spaciousness, which is the theme of the week. Yesterday, we pointed to the spaciousness within experience, right? Space within bodily sensations, space within the breath, etc. The space in the middle of whatever's happening, and then abiding spaciously inside of what's happening. And today, I'll just speak for a few minutes before meditation about what could seem to be the opposite of space within, which is space around experience. And in meditation, we'll explore abiding spaciously where breath is coming and going within the space of awareness, where sensations are happening inside of awareness. So that could sound like a different practice, right? Yesterday we were talking about the space inside the breath, space inside sensations. And today we're talking about the breath happening inside this space, sensations happening in the space of awareness. So is there space in the breath, or is the breath in the space of awareness? Like I say, they sound opposite. But the Buddha talks about blending awareness and experience. So in this case, attention and breathing, or attention and sensation. He talks about them blending like water and milk. So if you pour water and milk into each other, is the water in the milk, or is the milk in the water? No, that's what the blending means, right? That actually space and experience come together. Right? Awareness in the breathing, breathing in awareness, awareness in the sensations, sensations in awareness. They sound opposite, but it's the same thing. And yet, when we practice, we may, and there's no right or wrong about it, but each person will probably experience that more easily or more obviously one way or the other. So for some, the sense of, being aware inside the breath just might be that phrasing might be more evocative. And for others, just letting the breath happen within awareness might be more evocative. So, as I say, yesterday we gave attention to the first, awareness within the breath, a spacious abiding inside of the breathing. And today we'll do it in the other way, establishing a sense of a spacious abiding, being here as awareness. Usually we think I'm here as Martin, I'm here as this body, I'm here as this mind, I'm here as my stories and tendencies. But what if all of those are just in awareness? Right? So we let ourselves, in the beginning of the meditation, just get established as awareness, where an awareness that is made of what? Space, conscious space, luminous space, knowing space. And then everything's met in this space. Breath comes and goes here. Sensations flicker and pass here. Sounds come and go here. Thoughts appear and disappear here. Here in the space of awareness. So please take your seat for meditation. Set up your posture. And sit in a way that has some real dignity to it as you enter into the formality of meditation. A feeling of legs, feet, buttocks really being planted on the seat or the floor or the cushion. And the way in which you can really feel the length and uprightness of your spine, that sense of dignity, verticality. And the openness in your chest. Sense of a receptive heart, an open chest, open shoulders, where breath can move freely. And then a sense of ease, relaxation. The melting of tensions, the softening of your facial muscles. The relaxing in your belly. It's the naturalness of being here, of being awake. In this way then, we establish ourselves in our posture, and we establish ourselves in presence. The natural knowingness of this moment. The natural wakefulness of mind. The luminous space of which consciousness is made. And here, in this space, in this spacious awareness, the experience of breathing. The rise and fall of the belly. The gentle swell of the in-breath. The sinking of the out-breath. The still point between breaths. Breathing in awareness. relaxing into the space of awareness, this spacious field of knowing. A spaciousness in which to sense the breath, letting your breathing fill the space of awareness. Use the qualities of the breath, the natural expansion of the in-breath, to expand into spacious awareness. The relaxation of the out-breath to rest into spacious awareness. And the momentary still point at the end of the out-breath, where everything can stop. A momentary silence that pervades this spacious awareness. to abide as this spacious awareness is to know a quality of being here that is undemanding, not reaching for anything. Undefended, not refusing or rejecting anything. Undistracted. Always right here. Even as various thoughts, various ideas and images pull our attention in different directions, most essentially we see that awareness is always and only and completely here. Just like this. Breathing, coming and going in the open space of awareness. This field of presence. Relaxing into space. Space for breathing, space for sensations, space for sounds, space for thoughts, space for anything and everything to pass through. Open space. When you see your attention's been caught up somewhere, and see how having your attention be fixated, you lose the dimension of space. You forget that everything's happening in an open space of awareness. So in those moments where you see your attention's been caught up in that way, oh, good. Let yourself really notice that. And then relax around it. Let the thought stream dissolve. Let it melt into the space of being here. And then returning, recovering a spacious abiding. The space in which breathing is happening and hearing and thinking and everything. The open space of awareness. Last few minutes. Relax. Open. Let everything have its brief appearance and disappearance in the space of awareness. May we all know a spacious relationship to experience. May we all know that essential nature of our mind, which is undemanding, undefended, undistracted. That has space for whatever comes and goes without resistance, without compulsion, without judgment. May we all know the peace that radiates through the open space of awareness. So maybe you have you have questions about space. On the one hand, this sort of spacious dimension can feel very obvious, and on the other hand, maybe not. The next 2 days we'll be exploring the formless dimensions, what the Buddha calls the formless dimensions in space, and kind of the infinite spaciousness of consciousness and the infinite knowingness of consciousness. Anyway, we'll talk about that when we get there. That might sound a little convoluted, but I think what's important about meditation, if we're to really open to genuinely transcendental experiences, a sense of consciousness that's way vaster than just me and my consciousness. And on the other hand, it's important to kind of make that, to sort of speak about it in ordinary language. It helps make it accessible. These experiences are radically transformative. They shift our understanding of ourselves and what consciousness is and what reality is. And yet they're also really accessible to us. And so even though they might have grand names like the infinite knowingness of consciousness or something, just kind of trying to use ordinary language and kind of recognize, even in glimpses, that as being available. All right, couple of questions. Oh, before I answer questions, just a very brief reminder. Dana, it's all freely offered here. And so the invitation is for it to be freely supported, because that's the only way it can work. We want to offer these things freely, and yet the only way that we can offer them freely is if they're well supported. That's why we mention it every day, right? It's just to mention, oh yeah, this doesn't happen by magic. I mean, it kind of does, but your dana offerings are part of the magic. Your dana offerings are part of the magic. So that sense of the magic, beauty of mutual support. We support you as much as we can. We ask for you, hey, support us as much as you can, or at least in line with whatever feels possible for you, whatever way you're moved to give, whatever way you're able to. So there's a Dana link that's probably about to appear. Look at that, magic! It just appeared in the chat. Thank you, George. And that supports me as the teacher this week, Sangha Live as the platform, and those who work there. So thank you for helping keep this show on the road. All right. Kevin says, who or what knows? Who or what knows this open space of awareness? It's a good question, Kevin, except for there isn't a good answer. And in a way, the question itself, when I say it's a good question, I mean, just to let that question come alive. Look, here is this open space of awareness. What's its source? Who knows it? It's a good question. Let the questioning of that come alive, but don't expect an answer. There isn't one. Awareness cannot be known, right? Awareness knows. It's like the eyes can't be seen, right? They're what is doing the seeing. Imagine if we say, what's doing the seeing? Well, I can tell you it's your eyes, but if you'd never seen a mirror, what does that mean? Where are these eyes that you're talking about? I'm just looking. I'm looking for what's doing the looking. Right? You can't see your own eyes. So likewise, awareness is that which is receiving and knowing and making space for all experience. So awareness itself cannot be seen. Or it cannot be objectified. Objects appear within awareness. Sight objects, heard objects, seen objects, imagined objects, tasted objects, conceptual objects, etc. And awareness is the space in which they appear. Right? But that our consciousness is made of that space. We can't ourselves find something that is the who or what that knows that space. The space is the knowing. Awareness is the knowing. So we can't really get our head around that conceptually. But as I say, it's a good, let the question come forth. Well, what's knowing this? But the question is not about finding an answer. It's about letting the recognition of the knowingness of awareness come to the fore. And this space is a knowing space, a conscious space, a space that has a fundamental brilliance and intelligence to it. Oh, I thought it was me. I thought it was me that was doing all the knowing. It turns out the sense of me is something that arises within the space of awareness. Yeah. Good. Victoria asks, is it possible for taste and touch to feel as expansive as sight, sound, and smell are? Yeah. So the senses are different, right? Like sound is the easiest one to have a sense of, just sounds just coming and going in space. Just sound of a voice, sound of birds, sound of traffic going by. It's just open space. There's sounds just going by. And then open your eyes. We could say, just seeing within the space of awareness. Except seeing isn't so easy. Seeing is a much more dominant sense than hearing. And therefore, when we open our eyes, seeing easily, even though most of what we're seeing is space, we easily kind of, the seeing, we identify with the seeing. And therefore, rather than the sense of seeing happening within the space of awareness, we more easily have the sense of me seeing that. So there's space in between, but there's not the sense of the seer and the seen and the seeing just all happening within the space of awareness. So you can contemplate any of the senses in that way, but hearing is the most sort of accessible. But then also tasting, touch, just the sense of sensation, right? The touch, the sense of legs on the floor, right? Touch. Where is this perception of sensation? It's happening in the space of awareness. Where smell, light some incense if you like. Well, you just go from here, smell the coffee in the kitchen. Where's the smell happening? In the space of awareness. So you could actually make a little time to contemplate those different senses at appropriate moments of the day, right? Yeah. So when eating, that's the essence of eating meditation, right? Often on retreats, people will give eating meditation instructions, tasting, oh, enjoying, oh, like it, okay. All of that, rather than just identifying with it, oh, I like this, I want more of this, oh, this is yummy, you know, just actually sensing, oh, it's tasting, it's happening in the space of awareness. The enjoying, happening in the space of awareness. Oh, I want some more, happening in the space of awareness. Oh, the tension around wanting some more, oh, and then the relaxing of the tension, and then a more naturally spacious relationship with tasting and eating, etc. Yeah. And then a few appreciative comments. Good, thank you. Nice to hear your appreciations. And then Jeremy says, do you have any insight in the possibility to experience a different body? Or are we stuck in this body and are here to improve our story or life? I'm not quite sure what you mean, Jeremy, by experiencing a different body. No, I would say we're not just stuck in this body. And similarly, no, you don't get a different body. This is the one, right? Except you're not just stuck in it, and it is constantly actually becoming a different body. I mean, this body ain't the body I had 20 years ago, right? Or 30 years ago, or 40 years ago. So we can have, when there's no space, we can have the sense of, it's just me, I'm stuck, me and this body. But as we relax, we realize our body is just made of space, most essentially. Right? Space. Body is not a thing. Body is the experience of our constantly changing sensations. It's also the experience of our emotional life. It's also where thoughts happen, right? So cognitive life, emotional life, sensory life, physical life, it's all happening right here. But where it's happening isn't a thing called a body. It's the body is mostly what we call body. Right? Of course, there's this lump of flesh, but that's most essentially not what the body of our life is. The body of our life is this here-ness, this conscious space in which, yes, physical stuff is happening and emotional stuff, etc., etc. And the more we sort of settle into that, the more we don't feel anymore as if I'm stuck in this body. We feel we feel unstuck, we feel free, we feel fluid, and yet we're here. We're here, in these sensations. We're here in this moment, in this situation. So rather than looking for a different body or a different situation or a different life in some way, we become more interested in how we're relating to this life, this moment, this body. So we are neither going to get a different body any minute soon, and we are neither stuck in this life or in this body. And I could use this moment to do a little promo. So I have a book called Awake Where You Are, The Art of Embodied Presence. Maybe that's the title. Awake Where You Are, anyway. And it's all about, and it goes through, and every chapter is called the something body, the uncomfortable body, the sensory body, the physical body, the instinctual body, the emotional body, the psychological body. And it's looking at these different sort of realms of experience, all as bodies and all as happening here in this body of experience. Like the Buddha says, the whole universe arises and passes right here in this body. So, first we start with body as a sense of a physical thing. And as we relax more and open more and investigate more and care for experience more, the sense of the ways we can know body and our sense of what body is gets way, way, way more spacious. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Good. So one more question maybe. Kate says, I have pain in my chest that arises when I think about space or openness. Any ideas? Yes. But so, Kate, but because I don't know more about it. If I was with you, I would ask you a few more questions about it. But I would say just don't make it wrong. Don't make it an impediment to experience spaciousness. See, can you be spacious with the pain? Can you give space? Can you sense the space around the pain? Can you allow the pain to be felt within this space? And how does that change it? Having space around, or becoming the space around what's happening, tends to give that pain the opportunity to unwind and to move. And you might also give a little consideration to what's the emotional state that goes with that pain. Does it make you feel anxious or fearful or angry or resistant or irritated? Right? And just being very taking care of, tending to being spacious with the emotional state. And you'll probably find that as you take care of it, recognize and tend to the emotional state that you experience in response to that pain in the chest, the pain itself starts to change. Yes. All right, friends. Thank you for your presence and your practice. Thank you for your dana, and in whatever measure you're able to offer it. Thank you for the goodness of your warm and appreciative comments to each other here. Beautiful. May you go spaciously and graciously through the day. See you tomorrow.